Okay, so this is what we're going to do. I'd like you to pause this and copy this screen down real fast so that we can kind of go through the steps together. This is how you plot a basic sine or a basic cosine theta graph. Now that you've paused and you've copied it all down, we can actually go ahead and write the values down from our unit circles so that we can plot. I'm going to do the sine graph in pink, and I'm going to do the cosine graph in blue, and I'm going to use this axis as my theta axis, and I'm going to use this axis as my height. So as the height increases or decreases for sine, we should see the wave happen. As the height increases or decreases for cosine, we should see that happen. And we're going to do it for one full rotation going clockwise and one full rotation going clockwise and one full rotation going counterclockwise. Let's get that right. Okay, so fun fact, sine comes from the unit circle values in the y coordinate, So we're going to start with sine of 0 is 0. Sine of 90 is 1. Sine of 180 is 0. Sine of 270 is -1. And sine of 360 is 0. And we are going to plot this. 0, 0, 90 all the way up to 1. 180 back to 0. 270 down to -1. And 360 back to 0. Remember that sine makes a sideways S. They're nice and rounded. They are waves. They are not points. It should look like a nice sideways S shape. Then when we go clockwise, we're literally going backwards. So we're starting at 0, working our way backwards. Just like if I would take this roller coaster backwards, that's exactly what it would look like. So starting here, we have to move down to -1, back up to 0, up to +1, and back to 0. And this is a continuous curve. So I know this is a little awkward. I don't like going backwards, but so this one looks nice and pretty. This one looks a little funky, but that's your sine graph coming from the y coordinates on the unit circle. Okay. Now we're going to transfer over to cosine. Cosine I'm doing in blue. Cosine represent the x coordinates in the unit circle. These are the values that we need to plot. So at 0 degrees, we are at 1. 90 degrees, we're at 0. 180 degrees at -1. 270 at 0. And at 360, back to 1. So if I'm going to graph the cosine graph on this axis, I'm going to start at 0 degrees and go up to 1. I'm here for cosine, okay? Kind reminder on just how to do it. 90 degrees, I'm at 0. 180, I'm at -1. 270, I'm at 0. 360, I'm at +1. This one looks like a waterfall and under. This is a U shape. Where this one, the sine graph looks like a sideways S. This one looks like a big fat U shape. And we're going to do the same thing over here, going clockwise. Backwards. We're at 1, we got to go to 0. Then at -1. Then at 0. Then at +1. And we're going to go waterfall and under. Waterfall and under. And that's going to give us our U shape. Notice no points. Everything is continuous and curvy. So y equals cosine x comes from, cosine theta comes from your x coordinates, and y equals sine theta comes from your y coordinates. So now that we know what the normal is, we're going to start to do some transformations of this. So I'm only going to focus on our 0 to 360. So you can look at this basic graph. We're going to keep graphing this basic graph, and then I'm going to do transformations to it. We're going to do the same thing for cosine. We're going to do basic cosine graphs, and then we're going to do transformations of it. So please make sure you take good notes and use colors to discern between what's what. That's going to be very helpful to you.